This is the next video. So last time I talked about the design, I've done the design on an A0 plan, and the next step I'm going to do is build up the frame building jig, which is laser cut out of plywood. Hey guys, so we've got all the jig assembled, so these are all the different elements. This is a plywood jig, and we've designed this to be universal, single use, so you can set it up easily at home. The design, it's got a triangular shape, so it keeps everything really square and aligned, and also strong, because when you're building a frame, especially if it's your first time, you'll often try and force tubes in and make things work when you're mitering. So to have a strong jig is really useful. What I would advise, if you saw me assembling, definitely have a file to hand. Laser cutting can sometimes have some variable intolerance. And then I'm going to screw these into the wall, and you can screw them down to a bench, so just some short screws. And if you're building over a long period of time, I'd probably just put a dab of wood glue on the joins for the jig, just so it's a bit firmer and will stay together over time. So these are the jig elements. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to put the plan on the board and attach the jig parts. We're going to talk about the other parts that we're going to use. So when you're doing a bamboo frame, we use some metal parts that we manufacture, and that creates a perfect tolerance for things like bearings, seat sleeves and so on. Obviously you could machine the bamboo down, but it'd be quite difficult to get the accuracy because of the nature of the material being very organic. So having metal inserts, we can put all our threads in, bearing faces. I've got here a 68mm bottom bracket. So this is a standard bottom bracket, so it will fit with all major group sets and all components. So that's something we manufacture, and it's got a knolled finish. I've got a tapered head tube. I'm going to use tapered because this is going to be a disc frame, so it's going to allow me to find the right fork. So a tapered fork tends to have a larger crown because there's more force when you're breaking. And finally, seat post insert. So I'm going to use a standard 27.2mm seat post. I might upgrade it to a 31.6. I'm going to decide as I go. The other option I've got as well is I've got an eccentric bottom bracket. So I'm 50-50 if I'm going to use one. I'm still thinking about it. But my aim is to use a belt drive and an eccentric bottom bracket. I'll just show you now. It basically fits within a shell, and you can rotate it to tension the chain. I'm going to use a belt on this frame, so I might use an eccentric bottom bracket, but these are the parts. As I mentioned, the next step is I'm going to take the plan, and I've got a few plans. So if you're watching this video and you'd like to do the build at home, I'll send you a plan for free. So just send me a comment and then drop me an email with your address, and I've got a few spare plans. The printer printed a few extra for me, which is great. So I like to work with an A0 plan. And the benefit of this is everything is a 1-to-1 scale. So I can measure the plan live, build live, and it's really accurate, and I can put loads of measurements on here, and it's easy to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this to the wall, and I'm going to fix it with some masking tape. So I will quickly do that. And when you do it, you want to try and stretch out the tape as much as possible. Not the tape, the plan. So you stretch the plan out, because then it's going to be a lot more accurate. So I'm just putting little bits of tape on here first, and then I'm going to try and stretch this plan out as much as I can. Obviously it's come folded, so it's not, it needs a bit of stretching. And then to try and make sure it doesn't come off, I'm just going to use some more tape around the frame. Okay, so I've adapted the design a little bit. So we've got the same frame here, we've got front rack here, area for a rear rack here, and then I've got single chainstay. I've extended the chainstay slightly so there's room behind the wheels, so if you wanted to electrify this you could put a battery in the back there. I'm going to use a double top tube so I can have a luggage storage in here, and quite a long head tube because it's going to allow for lots of room to carry luggage in terms of where the handlebar sits and so on.
Jig parcel, so I'm just going to hold them in place and screw them down. So I might just screw them first.
Okay guys, so we're all set up now. We've got our jig set up, we've got an A0 plan, so this is a 1-to-1 scale. We can now start picking our bamboo. There's a huge variation of bamboo that you can choose from. And if you look at the Young's modulus of bamboo and all the testing that we've done over the years, we know that the bamboo is more than strong enough. What's more difficult is how we join the bamboo. And if you look at frame failures across steel, aluminium, carbon frames, you'll often find that they fail around the joins. Okay, so around bottom bracket, head tubes and dropouts. And so how we join the bamboo is going to be the most important aspect of this build. By picking the right bamboo at this stage, it will allow us to create a stiffer and a better ride, and it will give us better options in terms of how components will fit and everything else. So that's a key. So the first tube I'm going to pick is the down tube, and it's going to be this tube here. And we know that there's a lot of stress on this tube. We know that you're going to pedal here, and we've got the fork which acts as a big cantilever. So every bump, every movement on the road is going to be absorbed by this tube. So we need something that's going to be really stiff and durable, especially as we're going to go and load this frame up. So I've selected a few tubes here, and in the next video I'm going to go through different down tubes. I'm going to start to cut and miter the front triangle bamboo of our build. So thanks for joining me. As I said, if anyone wants a plan, I've got some spare plans, get in touch. If anyone's got any questions about the jig or setup, do get in touch and I can explain further. And if there's anything missing from the video, do comment below and I can try and answer them as best I can. So thanks for joining. Do like, do share. Appreciate you giving up your time to watch the video, and I'll be back next week for the next instalment. Thanks so much. Bye.